Hi guys, a lot's happened since I last did a video a few days ago. I had a pretty rough Tuesday as it turned out. I got the shopping done, that was all fine, the supermarkets were open, everything was normal. Got back home, settled down to watch a bit of TV on the big screen. The same old routine, pretty boring, but no options of travel these days and socialising sort of out the window a bit. And then at 8 o'clock, the stereo started playing and I couldn't quite work out where the music was coming from, but after a few hours I worked out it was actually from my neighbours just below me, and it just kept playing and playing and playing, and this continued on after I hit the sack a little after 10:30, something like that. Music just kept on happening. There were noises like there was a party happening downstairs, and it was impossible to sleep. And around 12:30 I got up and I contemplated calling the cops, but I just thought, no, I couldn't be bothered going through that hassle. I'll just tough it out and hope that they stop the music as soon as possible, but it didn't happen, unfortunately. As a matter of fact, it just kept going on and on and on. So I just spat the dummy at 3 a.m. I'd had it, and I decided to call the cops then. Use the 000 number, which you're not supposed to do on just these sorts of calls. It's supposed to, there's another police link number that you're supposed to use, and so they ticked me off over that. But they took a note of the fact that I had all this loud music playing with loud voices and what have you. And I was hoping that the cops might show up and sort of knock on their door and just caution them, and then they'd shut up. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, so I went back to bed, and around 4 o'clock, finally the music stopped. I actually got some shut-eye till about 6:15 in the morning when I got a phone call. And it was the local police rang just to see, they told me they got the report from the 000 people. Obviously there were no cops on duty by the sound of things in the wee hours. That's how I can interpret that, or either that or they just decided that I wasn't a high priority. If I'd rung earlier, hopefully something would have happened. I know in the past I've had a hassle when I was renting down in McLeod Street, a fairly down market place, and it was even more down market the place across the road from where I was staying, and it was really noisy and there seemed to be a lot of drinking happening. And I remember ringing the cops that time, and they definitely did attend that place about half hour to an hour later. So they do respond, but I think that was maybe before midnight. And this time, maybe because I'd rung at such a late hour, about 3:30, they just weren't going to turn up. It's a bit disappointing though, because it's the only way to get through to these people unless you're prepared to confront them yourself. But I'd heard them speaking and they didn't sound like the friendliest people on earth. There's quite a bit of swearing taking place, and you just don't know. These people could have been off their heads on drugs or boozed up or whatever. It's not something I want to contemplate personally. I don't know them from a bar of soap, and so I didn't want to confront them just in case they got nasty and some physical confrontation took place. I could do without that. So anyway, the cops were nice about it, but all they said was you should make a record of what happened. So I went online and logged the disturbance. Then I contacted the body corporate, and they said there's bugger all they can do. I was thinking about walking down there, but they're actually working from home at the moment because of this coronavirus lockdown. So I actually had to talk to our own person who manages this particular property on the phone, and he was okay. He was fine, but he basically said you haven't got many options. He did, however, send me a form via email, a contravention form for the bylaws in this block of flats. You can make that, fill one of those out. In this case, obviously, it comes under the category of noise, which is number 1 category. Big surprise. He also gave me information saying that this person who I said was making the noise had actually been a tenant there for some time, which is strange because they've only been noisy for the last week. last Saturday night they also had the stereo going till 2:30. So that's why I thought I'd better do something about this, because it's just got an ongoing problem. So, so I got the form off this guy, the manager for this particular unit, the block of flats, and I'll fill that out, and I've just got to sign it, so I'll have to get a hard copy done down at Officeworks, and I'll bring it back and scan it and email it through to him, and hopefully at least that'll be passed on to the owner of that lot downstairs from where I live. And that might sort of get them to actually say something to the tenants, because he was of the opinion that the agents are pretty useless when it comes to this, that they don't get on to the actual tenants. But I don't know about that, because I've had an issue with a tenant in the past while I've been here when I was renting, and the agency did do something, but then again they might have been a better agency. And it also, the same thing occurred when I was living in Melbourne. I had to contact the body corporate there, and they were fine. They actually did take some action. It depended who was the body corporate manager, though. It does vary depending on how they feel. But it's a bit disappointing. I was hoping that police might sort of at least visit to say something. Now maybe they will if I ring earlier. I'm hoping that. I've at least logged it, but I've just got a horrible feeling that they're not as proactive as they used to be, which is very disappointing. And it leaves me, it makes me feel very vulnerable here. And of course I had no sleep yesterday, so I was feeling absolutely lousy. And I just felt like I had no protection from this, that I thought the authorities are there to sort of, step in on my behalf. But body corporate can't do much. And the police don't seem to be interested at this stage. I'm hoping that's not the case, but at this stage, I've got to say, they didn't appear to be proactive. So a bit disappointing. I'm a bit wrung out. I'm feeling better today. The good news is that last night I was dreading it turning around 8 o'clock. I was thinking, oh God, the music will start again, because I did hear the stereo was switched on for only about 10-15 minutes yesterday when they woke up, which probably would have been about midday or something, seeing that they went to bed so late. So I thought, oh God, it's going to be on for young and old again. But no, there was no sound yesterday. Last night it was totally quiet, and it was heaven, absolute heaven. So I went to bed without any problems. So that was good. But gee, it's really a pain when you've got to worry about noisy neighbours. They can really destroy your quality of life. Fingers crossed this won't reoccur for some time, if ever. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you think there's anything there of use to you, or entertainment or whatever. And either do that or give me a thumbs up, or if you're feeling really energetic, do both. That'd be great. But please don't ignore me. That's the worst thing you can do on YouTube, is be ignored.